What is going on, y'all? Geofucks, Psych Perspectives. And we're talking about the chaos, the confusion, the transphobia, the hatred, the closed mindedness, the racism, the double standards, the hypocrisy, everything. And let's be real, this is clearly going to be biased. Yes, I am clearly going to be biased because I happen to be a part of various marginalized identities. I happen to be the so called snowflake. I happen to be the so called woke warrior. I also happen to be the so called alphabet gang ambassador. I also happen to be the so called transformer. So, of course, my viewpoints, my lived experiences, my opinion, my perspective is clearly going to be biased. And I recognize that. So, let's talk about it. So, in Michigan, right? I've been saying this for well over a year now about all of the anti transgender laws and anti LGBTQIA plus laws and legislation that is being passed federally at the federal level and statewide in individual states across the USA. And also what's going on globally across the world, around the world. So, in my home state of Michigan, it has been an issue as well. And this is one of the reasons why when folks were like, oh, well, we can just go to a blue state. And I remember when folks were talking about this, we just got to be in a blue state. You just got to move to a blue state. While that may sound good for some of you, it's not realistic for a lot of people. And the way fascism and authoritarianism and dictatorships and oppression and suppression, the way all these things typically work is it's going to end up being nationwide. So sooner or later, there's not going to be any blue cities, counties, states that you can just flee to, live in, work in, run to. Because states like Michigan that used to be considered blue, and we literally are the Great Lakes state, we literally have 25% of the world's freshest, clean, freshest bodies of water. Okay? But we've been red throughout the state, throughout local municipalities, cities, counties. There's 83 counties, and a lot of them are red. We've been blue, we've been purple, we've been red. So that's my whole point. So in the state of Michigan, at the state level, you have state political legislators, politicians that are aiming to ban trans people and depictions of transgender people. So let's talk about it. So when we look at this, Michigan Republican State Representative Josh Scriver has proposed an online pornography ban that seeks to prohibit explicit material as well as, quote, any depiction, description, or simulation of transgender people, trans people. Now, this is why when we're talking about censorship and why this needs to be talked about. Because in my opinion, a lot of times throughout history and currently, the Christian evangelical, Christian nationalists, white supremacists, homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic types, they're constantly trying to make it seem like they're protecting women and children. Yet the very people who are protecting the women and children are also the very people that are supporting the pornography industry. Right? Like, you don't want depictions of transgender people, yet who's typically looking up transgender porn? Who's typically looking up porn in general? Right? Like, let's really talk about it when we do these videos. Let's talk about it. Right? So when we look at this, and this is just a breakdown, porn demographic stats and trends, you can look this stuff up. I'm going to put it in the description box below, but you can look it up. So when we look at it from a gender standpoint, most statistics and studies, when it pertains to porn or porn addiction or stats that are self-reported by people participating in those studies, it's typically cisgender males. Keep in mind, women, cis females, intersex people, trans people, people in general look at porn, watch porn, participate in porn. But when we look at who's typically, looking it up, watching it, buying it, 69% is typically cisgender males. So 69% of cis males look at porn in comparison to cisgender women. Cisgender women, though, are looking. They represent 40% to the cisgender males, 69%. So they're damn near 30% more cis males. And also, cis males are 20% more likely to download pornography than women, cis women. Something to think about, all right? Because when you look at the state rep, Josh Schreiber, it's your group that's typically watching the porn. It's also your group that's typically sexualizing and fetishizing the transgender community, as well as the LGBTQ plus community, as well as women, whether they're cis women, trans women, intersex women, cis females, what have you. It's typically your group. State Rep Josh Schreiber. Just want to throw that out there. So this was introduced last Thursday, the Bill 4938, also known as the Anti-Corruption of Public Morals Act. So again, trans people somehow are corrupting the public morality of life, but not the cisgendered heterosexual men that are on Jeffrey Epstein's list, client list. Not them. Not the cis-het men and cis men who constantly are committing mass shootings, killing their children, killing their partners, killing their colleagues, killing themselves, killing each other. Never mind that. But trans people, you, me, we are the ones destroying the morality, right? Would prohibit the distribution of all animated, digitally generated, written, or auditory pornography online, which exceptions made only for scientific or medical research or instruction, as well as peer-reviewed academic material. Those would be the only exceptions. Now, this is also coming from the Republican Party at the state level of Michigan. But this is the Republican conservative thought. This is all Project 2025, y'all. Some of us tried to warn folks and share information about what was likely going to happen, but here we are. It's happening. And what's crazy about it is the Republican Party used to love to talk about how they were for small government. But how is it small government telling grown adults if they can have access to porn, what they can watch, what they can view, what they can have, and what they can do to their own bodies and who they can have? Yeah, it's just, That doesn't seem like small government. That seems like big government. In fact, it seems like the Republican government, in my opinion, is the big brother that everyone's been warning us about, because like you're literally overreaching our rights, our freedoms, our liberties, in my opinion. Additionally, uh, this House bill at the state level in Michigan, 4938, features a provision directly targeting trans people, banning content that includes a disconnection between biology and gender by an individual of one biological sex, imitating, depicting, or representing himself or herself, and you know I'm going to say it, their self, to be of other biological sex by means of a combination of attire, cosmetology, prosthetics, or as having a reproductive nature contrary to the individual's biological sex. This provision appears to not only ban depictions of trans people, but could also potentially be applied to drag queens because you're imitating and depicting. Now, this is going to clearly harm people like me, intersex folks, trans folks, non binary folks. But it's also going to largely impact cisgender people. Because once again, you thought or you think that you're safe. Oh, I'm not trans. I'm not gay. I'm not a woman. I'm not a person of color. I'm not an immigrant. I'm not poor. I'm not disabled. You say all of these things, and then you inevitably end up throwing your own self and others like you under the bus right along with the people that you didn't care about. See, once again, transgender people currently only make up 1.6%, maybe 2%. But typically, when we look at stats, trans folks make up less than 2% of the population. The other 98% of the population is cisgender people. With that being said, when they talk about attire, cosmetology, if you if you're a woman and you're wearing jeans and a hoodie and a baseball cap, you could get in trouble under House Bill 4938 in the state of Michigan if it passes. If you're a man and you have long hair and you have on makeup, I mean, under this bill, technically the vice president of the USA would potentially get in trouble. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because our vice president, J.D. Vance, is clearly wearing eyeshadow. Is that not cosmetology? Again, this is going to hurt a lot of people. It isn't just going to hurt trans folks. Yes, obviously they're targeting the trans community, the LGBTQ plus community, but it ultimately is going to hurt everyone. But when you're selfish and you don't care because it doesn't include you, or you just are hateful and closed-minded and refuse to educate yourself and learn about other people and other people's experiences, when that's your way of life, you end up harming yourself every time. But the bill would require internet providers within the state of Michigan to implement mandatory filtering technology to prevent residents from viewing porn, or face a $500,000 fee per violation. Individuals who initially violate the ban would be convicted of a felony. So you would get a felon for existing as a transgender person. You can't have any social media because it's online, and by design at the state House bill in Michigan, you're violating. How is existing a felony? You're literally criminalizing transgender people. You're criminalizing intersex people. And honestly, you're criminalizing everyone, because anybody that's not living up to what State Rep Josh Driver thinks a man should be or a woman should be, you might be violating. You might just get hit with a felony, also a $100,000 fine, and also prison time, up to 20 years, or both. So think about that. While individuals whose violation involves more than 100 pieces of prohibited material would literally face 25 years of prison time and or $125,000 fine. So I just want to put that up there, right? And yet this is what they're targeting and focused on, but yet very quiet about the Epstein files, very quiet about the fact that your average sexual abuser, sexual offender is still a cisgendered male, is still typically a cisgendered heterosexual male. Quiet about that, but let's go after people who aren't doing anything. Let's go after consenting adults. Let's go after... This is what we're dealing with. And this is in the state of Michigan. And this is also in other states across the USA and other countries across the world. But again, when we talk about this, we're constantly, those of us that are in the LGBTQ plus community, intersex, trans community, black, brown, person of color, working poor, homeless, women, etc. When people are speaking about why we're afraid, why we're scared, and now we're the snowflakes and we're woke and we're the alphabet and we're this, that, and the third, but yet this is happening. We've been trying to educate, we've been trying to share information, we've been doing our best to fight back, to defend our communities, to defend our liberties, our rights, but this is what we're dealing with, okay? So I just want people to pay attention to what's going on a little more often. If you have the privileges and the benefits and the resources and you're comfortable, you need, in my opinion, you need to be supporting communities. You need to be uplifting and supporting marginalized communities. Okay? Cisgender people, if you claim to be an ally, you claim to be concerned, you claim to care, well, you need to care, and you need to show up with actions and words that match. Trans people are literally under attack left and right. And we can talk all day about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but if we're denying it to one group, they're going to be denying it to all groups. Pay attention, okay? When we're talking about bodily autonomy, being pro-choice, my body, my choice. If it's my body, my choice when it comes to wearing a mask, then it should also be my body, my choice when it comes to my gender, my sexuality, if a person wants to give birth or not. All the cherry picking when it comes to these things is something to think about. Now here's the thing. I've been advocating for people to wear masks, to wash their hands with soap and water for at least 30 seconds, to use hand sanitizer. I've been advocating and recommending people get vaccinations against COVID, against flu, against shingles, against RSV. I've been advocating for public health for a very long time. And at the same time, I still believe in freedom of choice. I can't force you to wear a mask. I can't force you to get a vaccination. I can't force you to vote. I can't force you to care about others. I can recommend it. I can advocate for it. But at the end of the day, I still believe in your right to liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe in your freedom. Yet, why can't you do the same for me is going to always be my question, right? You want freedom. I want you to have freedom. But then I also want freedom, and some folks don't want me to have freedom. And it's just, wow, to witness and see on a consistent basis the double standards and the hypocrisy. And again, to all of, if you have the benefits to support trans folks, to support women, to support LGBTQ+, to support working class, poor people, homeless people, this is the time to stand up and support folks and to be there for folks, because we're in it. We're in the thick of it. And arguably we've always been in it, been in the thick of it, but we've been saying wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up for a while. And it's really past time folks woke up.